Jolene, Jolene, Jolene. One green, one red, two colorless. Legendary creature, human warrior. Whenever a player attacks one or more of your opponents, that attacking player creates a treasure token. If you create one or more treasure tokens, instead create those tokens plus an additional treasure token. Sacrifice 5 treasures. Put 5 +1/+1 counters on Jolene. Yeah, this is a very light commander in this set as well. And you got to remember, every time you play Jolene, you got to sing that old Dolly Parton song. Hello my friends, welcome to the Commander's Crypt. We're here with another Precon video from New Capenna. I love opening up these boxes. I do this just in case you can't go out there and do it. We review these Precons so you can see whether you want to spend the money or not. Go check out my other videos. I'm going to do one for each one of these Precons for this set, and I feel like some are good, some are bad, but you let me know how you feel about these as well. I just did the Kit Canto, and that was my favorite Precon so far. I can't we're going to see how we feel about this one as well. This is going to be Henzi Toolbox Tori, legendary creature, Devil Rogue. Each creature spell you cast with mana value 4 or greater has Blitz. The Blitz cost is equal to its mana cost. Parentheses, you may choose to cast that spell for its Blitz cost. If you do, it gains haste, and when this creature dies, draw a card, sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. Blitz costs you pay costs 1 less for each time you've cast your commander from the command zone this game. Riveter's Rampage. So this is going to be the Jun Commander, and I like to read what they have to say. Say hello to my massive friends. Choose your commander to overcome both friend and foe in this definitive multiplayer Magic format. Send in the muscle with a little help from Toolbox, and introduce your opponents to an unceasing wave of enormous creatures. Then better your Blitz with high sacrifice effects. Henzi Toolbox Tori. If you're looking to hire Toolbox, you better be ready to pay. Impossibly nimble, he can snag anything you want, but he needs something shiny for his troubles. It's said that he has his own secret stash even the Riveteer's leader doesn't know about. So without further ado, we will get into it. So here we are. We're going to open this from the back here, and I like to keep the box. We're going to keep the box here. Each one of these has 2 rares, and it has a sample booster pack. Been kind of whiffing on those. Hopefully we'll get something good. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, put that stuff there, and toss the box over here. See how we do. You wouldn't want to meet this guy in a dark alley, would you? All right, so let's see what we got here. There's the sample pack and the life counter. You know, this is a good way for new players to get into the game. For new players, I'd recommend Kit Canto. Very, very strong Precon. Go check out my video on that Precon. Let's see how this one does. Alright, I'm going to put that there, and you get a rule book and a spinny counter with the Riveteer logo on it, and let's see what we get with the sample pack. All right. Ooh, I'm happy with that. I'm very happy with that. Benny Braxton. I wonder if he's related to Tony Braxton. Benny Brax, Zoologist. 1 white, 3 colorless, Convoke. At the beginning of each end step, if you create a token this turn, draw a card. This set has a lot of treasure and creature token genesis. And it just says, if you created a token this turn, draw a card. It doesn't say creature token. That could be food token, treasure token. This guy is very strong. I'm happy with that. Let's see what the other one is. Wait, before I even flip it, I bet it's a charm. That's what they always put in here. Let's see. And, yep, there it is, Maestro's Charm. Surprise, surprise. But I'm very happy with that. I'll have to check the price on this guy. He's very good. So let's put him over there for now. And Maestro's Charm, toss that over there. Henzi Toolbox Torres. Let's see what we got. I love making these videos. Thanks for joining me today. I do this so you can see what the Precon's got. You know, there's some people out there, they're like, oh, you can just look at the deck list and see what you got. Yeah, but, you know, people might not want to read all the deck box. Deck lists. All you got to do is come to the Commander Crypt, and we will review all these cards and discuss them. And there, you won't have to do any reading. You just flick on my videos and review the cards that way. So there's Henzi Toolbox Torres. He's Jund. Oh yeah, the Beamtown Bullies. Yeah, okay, so this is the secondary commander that you get with this Precon. I really like the Beamtown Bullies. There's a lot of talk about this card. A lot of cards have gone up big time in value because of this one. All those poopy big creatures that you would never play because they had such a huge downside to them, now you can play those crappy cards that really are bad for you, but even worse for your opponents. You give them to your opponents and they're screwed. If you read it here, the Beamtown Bullies is John in 1 colorless, Vigilance and Haste. Tap it, target opponent whose turn it is puts target non-legendary creature card from your graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. It gains haste, goad it. At the beginning of the next end step, exile it. Until your next turn, that creature attacks each combat if able, and attacks a player other than you if able. So, goofy cards like Tempting Worm that you would never play, or Eater of Days you would play with the Beamtown Bullies. Eater of Days is a big flyer that makes you lose 2 turns. You give that to somebody and somebody's got to sit there for 2 turns doing nothing. I actually picked one of those up. As you can see here, they specifically said target non-legendary creature, so they didn't want you to put Phage in here and then kill somebody right off the bat. So this is a fantastic card. I think more people are going to be playing this as the commander than Toolbox Torres here. So yeah, so Beamtown Bullies, very good card. There's a lot of talk with this card. Like I said, a lot of cards went up in value because of this card. Next, we've got Glittering Stockpile, 1 red, 2 colorless. Tap it, add red, put a stash counter on Glittering Stockpile, sacrifice the stockpile, add X mana of any 1 color, where X is the number of stash counters on Glittering Stockpile. Okay, alright, seems good. Riveter's Charm, Jund, choose 1. Target opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker they control with the highest mana value among creatures and planeswalkers they control. That's very good. Exile the top 3 cards of your library. Until your next end step, you may play those cards. And last one, exile target player's graveyard. The first and the last are fantastic. Fantastic. Makes this card very playable. Next, we've got Riveter's Outlook. Helps you mana fix for your John Artisan of Kozilek. Interesting. He is 9 to cast. When you cast a spell, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So he's got a Reanimator effect, but then Annihilator 2. Okay. I guess they put that in there for the Beantown Bullies. Or for Torres's Blitz. Victimize. 1 black, 2 colorless. Choose 2 target creature cards in your graveyard. Sacrifice creature. If you do, return the chosen cards to the battlefield tapped. Okay. A little Reanimator strategy going on there. Next is Explore. You may play an additional land this turn. Draw a card. Next we've got Farseek. 1 blue, 1 colorless. Search your library for plains, islands, swamps, or mountain. Put it on the battlefield tap, then shuffle. Make sure it's not a forest. The good thing about this card is, as I'm sure everybody knows, that this allows you to go get your triomes or your dual lands. Garruk's Uprising. When the Uprising enters the battlefield, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, draw a card. Whenever a creature with creatures you control have trample. Whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. Something tells me there's going to be lots of big creatures in this deck with power 4 or greater. Oh, there's one. Indrik Stomp Howler. 1 green, 4 colorless. When the Stomp Howler enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Okay. Kodama's Reach. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Reveal those cards. Put 1 onto the battlefield tapped and the other into your hand. Then shuffle. For the ramp, Migration Path. Sorcery. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Put them on the battlefield tapped. Then shuffle. So you're going to have big creatures. So you're going to need to put those lands out quicker so you can get your big creatures out. Overgrown Battlement. It's a wall defender. Tap it, add green for each creature with defender you control. Okay. It's going to be interesting to see how many defender creatures we have in here. You know, the Maestro Massacre was just kind of a goofy Precon, man. You know, the Commander was really, really good, but the cards they put in there were just goofy. Not the best cards that they could for that Commander. You know, with the Beamtown Bullies, you're going to be able to put, those goofy creature cards that were in your binder that you never got to play, and you'll be able to, play those big goofy cards, or play your big cards. The Beamtown Bullies are already a 4/4 with Vigilance and Haste. That's strong right there, and then allows you to flip those other baddies onto your opponents and watch the hilarity ensue. Rapid Growth. Search your library for a basic land card. Put that card on the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. Tamir Sabertooth. 2 green, 2 colorless. Creature Cat. 1 green, 1 colorless. You may return another creature you control to its owner's hand. If you do, Temur Sabertooth gains indestructible until end of turn. So I guess what you could do is, once you give one of those goofy creatures to an opponent, you could bounce it back into your hand, I guess. Okay. Oh, that's uncommon. I would have thought that would have been a rare. Death Reap Ritual. Morbid. At the beginning of each end step, if a creature died this turn, you may draw a card. Okay, that seems good. Drawing cards is always good. Next, we've got Terminate. Fantastic card. I like the other picture better, but yep. Keep this in your hand, and just in case somebody does something crazy, and zap it. It's an instant. Arcane Signet. Commander's Fear. Bellowing Mauler. 4/6 for 5. At the beginning of your end step, each player loses 4 life unless they sacrifice a non-token creature. Seems good. Seems good. Protection Racket, 1 black, 2 colorless enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, repeat the following process for each opponent in turn order. Reveal the top card of your library. That player may pay life equal to that card's mana value. If they do, exile that card, otherwise put it into your hand. Interesting. I don't know how I feel about that. Okay. Wave of Rats, 1 black, 3 colorless, trample. When Wave of Rats dies, if it dealt combat damage to a player this turn, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control, and it also has Blitz. Okay. Industrial Advancement, 1 red, 3 colorless. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice a creature. If you do, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is that creature's mana value. So, okay, you may sacrifice a creature. Okay, that's good. You may put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield. Let me back up here. If you at the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice a creature. If you do, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is that creature's mana value. You may put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Okay. Everyone knows I love cheating in creatures. Mezio Mugger. Viashino Rogue, 1 red, 4 colorless. Whenever the Mugger attacks, exile top card of each player's library. You may play those cards this turn, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells. Alright, that seems good. Oops. Rain of Riches, 2 red, 3 colorless. When Rain of Riches out of the battlefield, create 2 treasure tokens. Okay. The first spell you cast each turn that mana from a treasure was spent to cast has Cascade. Ooh, yeah, I like that. Cascade is one of my favorite mechanics. I have a Yidris deck. It's my absolute favorite. I'll do a deck tech on it one of these days. It basically has a bunch of time walks that you can cascade into and basically win the game through infinite time walks. So this might go in there. This could be a really good card in this deck. Turf War, 1 red, 4 colors. When Turf War enters the battlefield, for each player, put a contested counter on target land that player controls. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to a player, if that player controls 1 or more lands with contested counters on them, that creature's controller gains control of one of those lands of their choice and untaps it. Interesting. Chaldea Guardian, 1 green, 3 colorless. Whenever Chaldea Guardian or another creature you control with mana value 4 or greater dies, create 2 1/1 green and white citizen creature tokens. Okay. Dodgy Jalopy, 1 green, 2 colorless. Trample. Dodgy Jalopy's power is equal to the highest mana value among creatures you control. Ooh, okay. Crew 3 Scavenge, 1 green, 2 colorless. Exile this card from your graveyard. Put a number of 1/1 counters equal to this card's power on target creature. Scavenge only as a sorcery. First Responder, 1 green, 3 colorless. Vigilance, Ogre Citizen. 3/3. At the beginning of your end step, you may return another creature card you control to its owner's hand, then put a number of 1/1 counters equal to that creature's power on First Responder. Okay. Alright. Next of Kin, 1 green, 2 colorless. Enchant creature. When enchanted creature dies, you may put a creature card you own with lesser value from your hand or from the command zone onto the battlefield. If you do, return next of kin to the battlefield attached to that creature at the beginning of the next end step. Okay. Grime Gorger, 1 Gruel, 1 green, 1 black, 2 colorless. Menace, Horror. Whenever Grime Gorger attacks, exile up to 1 card of each card type from defending player's graveyard. Put a +1/+1 counter on Grime Gorger for each card exiled this way. Okay. Allows you to eat up somebody else's graveyard and make him bigger. Jolene, 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 Jolene. 1 green, 1 red, 2 colorless. Legendary creature, human warrior. Whenever a player attacks one or more of your opponents, that attacking player creates a treasure token. If you create 1 or more treasure tokens, instead create those tokens plus an additional treasure token. Sacrifice 5 treasures. Put 5 +1/+1 counters on Jolene. Yeah, this is a very light commander in this set as well. And you got to remember, every time you play Jolene, you got to sing that old Dolly Parton song. Riveter's Confluence, Jund and 2 colorless. Sorcery, choose 3. You may choose the same mode more than once. First one, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Okay. Riveter's Confluence deals 1 damage to each creature and planeswalker you don't control. Okay. You may put a land card from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield tapped. Okay. All right. Weathered Sentinels. 3 colorless, it's a wall, defender, vigilance, reach, trample. Weathered Sentinels can attack players who attack you during their last turn as though it didn't have defender. Whenever Weathered Sentinels attacks, it gets +3/+3 and gains indestructible until end of turn. Okay. 5/8. All right. Excuse me. Yeah, 5/8. Ether Snap. Remove all counters from all permanents and exile all tokens. Wow. Very strong sorcery. Deathbringer Regent. 2 black, 5 colorless flying. When Deathbringer Regent enters the battlefield, if you cast it from your hand and there are 5 or more other creatures on the battlefield, destroy all other creatures. Okay. Disciple of Bolas. 1 black, 3 colorless. When the disciple enters the battlefield, sacrifices another creature. You gain X life and draw X cards, where X is that creature's power. Okay. Noxious Gearhulk. Artifact creature construct menace. When he enters the battlefield, you may destroy another target creature. If a creature is destroyed this way, you gain life equal to its toughness. Yeah. Figure out a way to blink this guy. That would be good. Painful Truths. 1 black, 2 colorless, sorcerer converge. You draw X cards and you lose X life, where X is the number of colors of mana spent to cast this spell. Okay. Blasphemous Act. 1 red, 8 colorless. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature on the battlefield. Blasphemous Act deals 13 damage to each creature. Board wipe. Chaos Warp. There it is. There should be a beast within in this deck as well. Yeah. Tried and True. Red staple. The owner of target permanent shuffles it into their library, then reveals the top card of their library. If it's a permanent card, they put it on the battlefield. We've all been there where we've played this card and they got something better, or they got the same card back. But still a fantastic card. It allows red to do something that it usually can't do, and that is kill enchantments or anything else that you need to get rid of. Itali Primal Storm. This card is so good that they're like putting it into everything. It is a very fantastic card. 2 red, 4 colorless. Whenever Itali Primal Storm attacks, exile the top card of each player's library. Then you may cast any number of spells from among those cards without paying their mana cost. You know what I would do in this deck is, everyone knows me, I love cheating creatures. I would, maybe put some bigger creatures in here with Quicksilver Amulet and Elvish Piper and, flip this guy in there, or Ilharg. Ilharg is one of my favorite cards because Sneak Attack is getting pretty expensive. So Ilharg is like a cheaper version of Sneak Attack, and it's very hard to get rid of. So you could keep, what I'm getting at is you could keep flipping this guy in, and you know, and then he's back in your hand where he's safe, and then you know, keep taking everybody's spells and permanents off the top of their libraries and building up your board with their stuff. Infernal Titan, 2 red, 4 colorless. He's a 6/6 Titan. He also has fire breathing. Whenever Inferno Titan enters the battlefield or attacks, it deals 3 damage divided as you choose among 1, 2, or 3 targets. Stalking Vengeance. This guy's good. 2 red, 5 colorless, works well with the Beamtown Bullies. Haste, whenever another creature you control dies, it deals damage equal to its power to target player or planeswalker. So with the Beamtown Bullies, you can give your opponents, you know, one of those goofy creatures that really screws them up, and then when you have to sacrifice it, it then does damage to target player or planeswalker. Very good card. Warstorm Surge, same thing. If you go check out my Zeotora deck building session, we had a bunch of Dragon Tempests and Warstorm Surges and Pandemoniums. Stalking Vengeance would go very well in that Zeotora deck, because whenever you sacrifice a creature, you get to do damage to any target and then create 3 treasure tokens. But with Stalking Vengeance, I guess you'd be able to double that damage. So Stalking Vengeance would work well with Zeotora, just like Warstorm Surge would. Avenger of Zendikar, that would also work very well with Stalking Vengeance. 2 green, 5 colorless. This is another card that you're seeing a lot all over the place. When Avenger of Zendikar enters the battlefield, create a 0/1 green plant creature token for each land you control. Landfall, whenever land enters the battlefield under control, you may put a +1/+1 counter on each plant creature you control. This card's getting played all over the place. Evolutionary Leap, 1 green, 1 colorless enchantment, sack a creature. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Put that card into your hand and the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. Yeah, I guess again that would work well with Beamtown Bullies. You give that, you know, an opponent a really poopy creature that's really going to mess them up, and then you sacrifice it to Evolutionary Leap to get a another creature put in your hand. Giant Ediphage. This is one of my favorite cards. 2 green, 5 colorless, trample. Whenever Giant Ediphage deals combat damage to a player, create a token that's a copy of Giant Ediphage. That works really well with Warstorm Surge. You attack, smack somebody, but then, you know, every time another 7/7 token comes in, you zap another target for 7. One of my favorite cards. I love this guy. Him and Utvara Hellkite. That's another card that I would put in here, because everybody knows me. I love dragons, and Utvara Hellkite is a house. Green Warden of Marasa, 2 green, 4 colorless elemental. When he enters the battlefield, you may return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Okay. That's target card. So he's a more expensive. What's her name? I can't remember her name right now. When Green Warden of Marasa dies, you may exile it. If you do, return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, so that's good. Life's Legacy, 1 sorcery, 1 green, 1 colorless. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature, draw cards equal to the sacrifice creature's power. Okay. Mitotic Slime, 1 green, 4 colorless, ooze. When Mitotic Slime dies, create 2 green ooze creature tokens. They have, when this creature dies, create 2 1/1 green ooze creature tokens. Okay. I kind of wish they'd have put better creatures in here for the Beamtown Bullies. Thrag Tusk, 1 green, 4 colorless. When he enters the battlefield, you gain 5 life. When he leaves the battlefield, create a 3/3 green beast creature token. Again, blinking him would be good. Tree Shaker Chimera, 2 green, 5 colorless. All creatures able to block Tree Shaker do so. When he dies, draw 3 cards. So I guess he'd be a really good guy for the Beamtown Bullies to go and attack somebody. Then you get to draw 3 cards. Woodfall Primus, 3 green, 5 colorless. Trample. When he enters the battlefield, destroy target non-creature permanent and he has persist. Heck, for that cost, you ought to just put a Terastodon in there. That's what they should have put. But anyway, you know, Wizards of the Coast, they didn't come to me to, you know, they didn't speak to me when it was time to advise them on these precons. World Shaper, 1 green, 3 colorless. Creature Merfolk Shaman. When World Shaper attacks, you may mill 3 cards. When World Shaper dies, return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tap. That's pretty good. Works pretty well with the Beamtown Bullies. So what I'm seeing is this deck's kind of geared more toward the Beamtown Bullies. So you can mill your own stuff and then use the Beamtown Bullies to smack your opponents. Crush the braid-blooded. Jund, the 2 colors. Whenever another creature dies, you may put X +1/+1 counters on Crush the Blood Braided, where X is that creature's power. That's cool. Again, with Beamtown Bullies, you fling something at somebody. You know, like your Artisan of Kozilek, and somebody takes 10 damage, and then, you know, Annihilator 2, and then when he dies, you know, put 9 +1/+1 counters on Crush. Pretty cool. Wind Grace's Judgment, 1 green, 1 black, 3 colorless. Instant for any number of opponents. Destroy target non-land permanent that creature controls, that player controls. Yeah, we'll just call our opponents creatures anyway. What else we got here? Life Crafter's Bestiary, 3 colorless. Artifact at the beginning of your upkeep. Scry 1. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you may pay a green. If you do, draw a card. Very good, very good. So next is Solemn Simulacrum. You know, I'm not a big fan of this card. It gets played a lot, but not a big fan. 4 colorless. When he enters battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card, put that card in the battlefield, tap, and shuffle. When Simulacrum dies, you may draw a card. Okay. I guess with the Beamtown Bullies, gives you value. And that's it. You know, it's amazing. Kit Kanto was such an amazing precon. This one's okay. You're going to have to do, Beamtown Bullies is really awesome. You're going to have to do a lot of swapping creatures with this deck to make it good. Cinder Gale. I give this deck, I give this precon like a C+. I give Kit Kanto an A+. That's the best one of all the precons. Exotic Orchard, Foreboding Ruins, Game Trail, Keswick Wolf Run, very good card. Add colorless, green, red, X, target creature gets XO and gains trample until end of turn. Mossfire Valley, Mosswort Bridge, Hideaway. You may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost if creatures you control have total power 10 or greater. Shadow Blood Ridge, Smoldering Marsh. You know, they should have put an Udvar Hellkite in here. You know, if you've got green and you've got red, you should have Giant Ataphage and Udvar Hellkite, in my humble opinion. Spine Rock Knoll, Hideaway again. 1 red, tap it. You may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost if an opponent was dealt 7 or more damage this turn. Temple of Malady, Twilight Mire, mana fixing. Rolling Stone, Soul Ring, Ash Barrens, Blighted Woodland, sacrifice the woodland, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, then put them on the battlefield depth and shuffle. Command Tower, Jund Panorama, sack it, go get a basic land, mountain or forest card. Myriad Landscape, sack it, 2 mana, go get 2 basic land cards that share land type. Path of Ancestry, Savage Lands, Jund, Savage Lands. That always reminds me of the Marvel. I'm a huge Marvel comic nut. That reminds me of Khazar and the Savage Lands there in Antarctica. Temple of the False God, Thriving Bluff, Thriving Grove, Thriving Moor, and Swamp. And then you're going to have your tokens in here. And then there's the thick proxy card for Henzi. Let's see what the tokens are. Ooze 2/2, Treasure, Ooze, Skoos, Treasure on the back, Ooze, Treasure, Ooze, Treasure, Ooze, Citizen token. Hey baby, you got a boyfriend? Ooh, another one. Double the pleasure. Let's see what's on the back of her. Plant, Beast token, and Treasure, and then +1/+1 counter, and the Riveteer. Okay, yeah, so this one gets a C+, simply because this was a really awesome opportunity for Wizards of the Coast to put some really big, awesome, cheap creatures in here, and they didn't do it. You're going to have to do a lot of changing on this Precon in order to run it. Yeah, so I give this one a C+. But Beamtown Bully, so much that you can do, so much fun, so much shenanigans, tomfoolery, and hijinks you could do with that card. Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed my short video, only 35 minutes. We do this for you. I know a lot of people can't get right out and get these Precons, and you may not want to read deck lists and read a bunch of articles on these. You might just want to watch a video and then decide that way if you want to get the Precon or not. So that's it. We're going to get on out of here. I really like making these videos, and I hope you enjoy them. Let me know if there's anything I can do to make these videos more enjoyable. I really love Commander. I really love Magic, and our motto here at the Commander's Crypt is we don't want to just be a Commander channel. We want to be a Commander community. So when you get a chance, go on my website. My website is up. It's commanderscryptnola.com. And that's where I've got all my videos if you want to watch them. But then also what we're going to do is we're going to have merchandise and cool stuff on that website, things about New Orleans and all that kind of stuff. So that's it. We're going to get on out of here. I hope you enjoyed our video, and we will see you again on the next Commander's Crypt. One more thing. Get on my Patreon there. We're still giving a box away of New Capenna. All of the money I get on Patreon goes to the ASPCA. So I hope you're having a very crypty day, and we'll see you next time on the Commander's Crypt.